So I've got the shape pretty much all there, so that's all fine. I tend to start with the darkest areas and start to accentuate these darkest areas, so looking at starting with the nostrils and just making sure that they are the correct shape. And with dogs' nostrils, they're not just a shape on a shape. You know, they curve round. They actually are. They're obviously the airwaves, so you know they go in. You know, so that's something that you've got to try and get right in your drawing to show that you've got all of these sort of soft lines, curves, and that these are actually big holes that go into the dog's head. So they're not just a black mark. So I'm just popping these in very gently with the Derwent Studio to begin with. And then this one here. So it's really important with noses to get the shapes right, but also to get the shading right. And the shading on a nose is what is going to give you the best result of it actually looking like a nose. And we've got this crease that runs up. And then you've got the so this is kind of showing the roundness of how the nostril works. So this is sort of like a lovely soft round area that comes out. I tend to use round strokes when I'm drawing noses, just because that's sort of the shape that's on the nose itself. And the nose can come together really quite quickly, or it can take forever. It just depends on the nose, and it depends on, you know, how the shading goes. If you get your shading spot on, then it does look quite nice quite quickly. Obviously this is very muted at the moment. I tend to start most of my elements like this muted, just so that I get everything in the right places. And I'll use this roundy, open round sort of circular motion on the top of the nose, because that then brings in the texture of the dog's nose, which then you can follow through into subsequent layers. So you don't have to draw every single tiny little nose detail. If you put the texture in like this, your further layers are going to pick up on that texture, and you can kind of accentuate it, and it looks like the texture on the top of the dog's nose. And then this bit is quite smooth. Just take away that. And it is all about light and shade. You know, you get your lights in the right place, you get the darks in the right place, and it will start to come together really quite nicely. So that's quite a nice sweet little nose. I mean, obviously it needs a lot more work doing to it, but it's quite a nice subtle nose. So I'm now going to move back into using the polychromos. So I'm going to pull in the dark indigo and the black and some greys. Okay, so I've got a sharp polychromos black, so I can start to come into here and start to really build up the darkness. You can see the pigment is much richer than the studio. I'm not putting a huge amount of pressure in, and I'm just filling in this area here. Okay, so then I use my dark indigo and just come in over the top of that black, and that's just going to make it a richer colour. And then I can bring this dark indigo out from the black. And that's going to just blend out into this area here, which is like a highlighted colour, which I can bring in with like a cold grey, but you get the graduation from the really dark through to sort of like a little bit lighter through into this lovely highlight here. And then I'm going to use the dark indigo in here as well. Again, using those roundy strokes. Those roundy strokes around the edge of the nose. Gives that really nice feel of a curve. So just bringing this down here where it's again being very careful. Just be careful that you don't accentuate any marks that don't need accentuating. I'm terrible for doing that. I'll find a mark and I'll kind of just make a feature of it, even if it's not supposed to be there. Just bring some of the black into here on top of this dark indigo. And again, this is quite dark down here. Oops. So this is very, there's more grey around here. So I'm just using very, very light pressure. It's about subtlety, you know, getting your marks in the right place, but it's also about the lovely subtlety of it and the softness. So we'll come back down here, and actually there's a lovely shine on here which we can add in a minute, and then this bit here is really quite dark. Okay, so moving on to the Coldbray 4, I can then start to come into all these places that are a little bit where we've kind of left the pigment out, and I can work into these dark areas as well. So this is quite light as well here, so this cold grey over the top of the that dark indigo works quite nicely. And actually it'd be quite nice to have a bit of a, use this, this is the cobalt blue greenish. Just use a little bit of this in here, and then I'm going to drag that in, drag a bit of that pigment in with the cold grey. So it's not like loads of blue, but it's there a little bit. Put a little bit more in there. Very, very gentle pressure. And then I can just use the dark indigo just to pull that down a little bit more. Okay, right, so dark indigo up here. Again, using these roundy strokes, and it'll pick up the layer underneath. Okay, and then I'm going to use the cobalt blue again. I don't want to go over the top with this. I just want patches of and I want it to be very subtle. Need to that's that little bit of hair again on the top of her nose there. And then the nose begins sort of here-ish. Just adding that black over the top of the blue there. just darken it up again, and then what we need to do is we need to just try and blend it all a little bit, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring in the probably a cold grey, I think, and just start to blend it all a little bit. So, cold grey. Okay, so cold grey one. Really good for blending, especially on some things like noses. So we're going to start down here, and we're just going to follow the direction that we did when we were actually putting the colours in. And we're just going to bring the pencil in and over all of the pencil strokes that we've already got down, the layers that we've already got down, and it will lighten everything, you know, which is fine, but it'll just smooth everything out a little bit. So we'll start to get a really nice smooth feeling on the nose. But obviously you're going to lose some of that darkness, but we'll put that back in again. Now I'm not using very hard pressure at all, still using really light pressure, and just using those round pencil strokes. Just to kind of blend all of those. This makes it almost look wetter, whereas all of the layers underneath it look quite dry. So you can see how it's all starting to really smooth out. But you do lose some of the clarity of the tonal values. But when we come back in again with those darker colours, they should go on quite smoothly now. Okay, so it's kind of blended it all, and you've got like a bit of a smooth nose going on there that doesn't have much in the form of contrast. So now we come back in again, and we start to build that contrast back in. And it's just a case of just replicating what you've done before. So you've created yourself a nice base that's smoothed out, and now we're looking at putting all of these details back in. And you might find that, you know, you need to do that process a couple of times. Let's get some of this in there. You know, to get the depth that you need. You know, or it could be that it just happens very quickly. And always try and follow the shape of the dog's nose. You know, draw as if you're drawing on the dog's nose, and that way you're going to be able to get yourself some really nice real looking noses. Just want to make sure that we know that the nose starts here. Okay, so let's go dark indigo here. I just need to watch this bit here, that it doesn't just become just a line, a dividing line. You know, it's got to have some form of shadow in there to make it look real. That's quite a nice little nosy, that, actually. Right, Let's just bring this. Okay, just needs to. All right. Just dabbing off excess. We don't need a huge amount of brightness in here. Right, and then let's just using the cobra one again. Okay, and then I think we just need a little bit more. Right, so let's just darken up this